All right, it's district breakdown time. We're talking 6-6A, which is close to where I am right now at most of the Louisville ISD teams. Talk about what you see coming out of there, because that's the Louisville ISD teams and the Plano ISD teams going at it.
Yeah, and when we talk about this district, I think the focus, and rightfully so, is going to be on the Louisville ISD teams. They've got a lot of the biggest talent and the biggest names. Marcus last year was kind of on everybody's hit list and radar. They had the good quarterback, and they have a new transfer coming in with Cole Welliver, sophomore, 6'6", checks all the boxes. But Jackson Warren came in and stepped in last year for Garrett and played well. I mean, obviously they lost to Prosper, and that was just a really tough matchup in the first round. But I think Marcus has a two-headed monster at quarterback, and they've got Gabe Espinoza coming back. I think Marcus is the favorite. But in the big picture, and I'm probably going to make some of my 6-6A friends mad, there's a lot of good teams in this district, but I don't know if there's a great team in this district. I don't know if when we're going in the DFW top 10 or top 15, any of these teams are going to make the top 10 or top 15 or necessarily be a state title contender. But I think this district might have 5 or 6 teams from like 15 to 30. That's how I kind of see this district breaking up. Another player I'm really interested in, who's had a really good offseason. If you ever go to recruiting Twitter, you kind of see some big names blowing up. But this summer in 7-on-7, Dakota Bridges is really getting on everybody's radar. He's doing fantastic, and he's got a good quarterback in Jacob Bunniff throwing to him. I'm very excited to see how that goes. So for me in this district, top 2 teams, I've got Marcus and Hebron as my top 2 teams in this district, and I'm very excited about them. But at the same time, there's not a big drop-off from there when it comes to the next couple of teams.
You know what that brings up? That brings up the Plano ISD teams.
Wow.
Are they going to get into the playoffs? Are they going to fight for a playoff spot? I know West did very well last year. Talk to me about that.
And Vance Feuerbacher, sophomore, who had to step in at quarterback, really did a good job. I could see him taking over, but he plays both ways, safety and the quarterback position. So you got to like Plano West. For my third spot, I like Flower Mound. I mean, we're talking about your backyard. Parker Clark and Nick Evers, we saw them connect for big games against all 3 Plano schools. It seems like when Flower Mound played any of the 3 Plano schools, they went off for 60 last year. But when they played the Louisville ISD schools, they struggled a little bit. But I still have Flower Mound as my third team. And losing Anthony Black, you guys did a great story on him as that two-way player. He made MVP in 6-6A on the basketball side and then the football side as a wide receiver, but dropping off on that. I hear a good name coming out of Coppell we need to keep an eye on is Landry Fee. A lot of people aren't talking about him, so that could be a player to watch. Plano ISD, I think one of the best players coming back is at Plano East, is Almaty. Unanimous first team running back, really electrified the district last year. They're going to have him for another year. Some questions at quarterback for Plano East, though, so we'll find out how that turns out. I think it'll basically be the four Louisville ISD teams in Coppell all fighting for the 4 playoff spots. I think the Plano teams will be competitive, but I don't see them necessarily making the playoffs this year.
Do you think, to finish off talking about 6-6A, do you think Louisville's that Damian Martinez had such a great year at running back?
Oh, yeah.
Is he going to have, with the quarterback on and possibly the wide receiver, is he going to have to carry the load there for the Farmers?
Well, the good news is they've got 4 all-district offensive linemen returning to back him up. So I think the infrastructure will be there. But in that final game against Arlington Martin in the playoffs, it wasn't the offense, it was the defense that really got torched in the special teams. And Louisville hasn't been known for having a very good defense or special teams. They've graduated all of that. Could be a good thing or a bad thing, but I think Louisville is going to have to win shootouts. And I don't know if they're going to be able to win shootouts without that quarterback. So I think Louisville is kind of on the second tier when it comes to the playoffs. I think them and the 3 Plano schools will have to play spoiler for Marcus Hebron, Flower Mound, and Coppell.
That's true. Me and you were both at that Louisville Plano East game last year, and that scoreboard couldn't take much more of what those 2 teams gave them. So I appreciate it, Diggs. We're going to talk 7-6A next week, and we'll try to figure out which of these Richardson squads you think are going to step up, and Irving squads for that matter.
We'll talk next week.